It is a really snowy day outside today, so I figured I'd just stay indoors where it is safe and do some cozy DIY activities, one of which I am doing right now, which is crocheting. And yes, if you're wondering what I'm crocheting, it is in fact a sardine. I made my first crochet sardine a few weeks ago and I actually used it as a tree filler, but this one I'm using slightly different yarn that I'm hoping to use as a pretty decently sized bag charm, a little DIY bag charm. Have I ever done this before? No. Have I followed any sort of tutorial on how to do this? Also no, so jury's out on whether or not I'm going to be able to do this successfully. I've got a theory about what I should be doing, so we're just keeping the fingers crossed. When I do the fins, I'm either gonna attach this circular one or this one that has like a full-on clasp. Like, look at how fun this yarn is. It's very fine, so you have to be delicate, but so cute. Uh-oh. I swear once I go on camera, it's like I forget how to crochet. I finally have my body and my two fins, one with the keychain attached. Now I need to do the uncomfortable job of sewing these onto my sardine. Stitching is definitely not my strongest suit when it comes to crocheting, and I get really in my head about it because this is where the projects really come together. And if it is done poorly, like you don't want it coming undone, so you want to make sure you're overly cautious and put more stitches in than less, but also you want it to look clean. And there you go, ladies and gents, a sardine bag charm. This is the sardine charm on a purse. How cute! I think that looks adorable. I really like that it's neutral. I think it works with a lot of different bags. I'm still not sure if this is a gift for myself or if I will be gifting this to someone who I know will appreciate a good sardine. Or I can just make more. Why choose? This is a perfect example of why I find learning skills like crochet, or even, you know, what I did recently with the leather journals, like learning new skills and using that to make things that you just want to make. It is so rewarding to do something like this. I don't know, I think that's adorable. The charm might be a little too big for this particular size bag, but I feel like on a big tote, it would really shine. But there you go, my first ever bag charm. If you do happen to crochet, I'm gonna link the pattern that I use. It's completely free, so that's amazing. I'll also try and link the yarn I used. I deviated away from the pattern's requirements because I actually used two different size yarns for this sardine. I could not find size 1 yarn in like a solid color anywhere, and by anywhere I do mean Michaels. One trip to Michaels that I could not find just a solid beige colored size 1 yarn. So I think for this one I used size 4 or size 3 yarn, and the body is size 1, which is why the body is a little less pronounced than the fins and the head, but I think it works. Speaking of DIYs, I also have been starting my book advent calendar. I did a whole video on IG, TikTok, and I even posted on Shorts, so maybe you already caught it. But in that video, I showed myself DIYing my own book advent calendar insert so that I don't necessarily have to buy the book advent calendars in store, which I think that is such a genius invention that I've seen in the book world over the last few years, where there's pages that are perforated that you rip open each day, and then by the end of the month, you've got an entire book that you've read. But then you're kind of beholden to reading that specific book, and I thought, you know, there's got to be a way to easily DIY some inserts yourself so that you can have a book advent calendar for whichever book that you want to read. Now in the video, I showed myself making a cover for a different book, but this is actually the one that I am using this year. It's Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. I've been wanting to read this forever. It's been on my TBR for years. And if I take off the ribbon, inside I've already gone through and put in my page inserts so I know each day when I'm supposed to stop and start. On day 24, I use this extra fancy metallic gold paper because it's the day before Christmas. It deserves a little something special. Now these ones are laminated because I got in my head that I should laminate them, and that was a horrible mistake. So the way that I showed it in my short form video is actually much better without the lamination, because with the lamination, it's quite stiff. I feel like the lamination would only work if you were doing bookmarks for this rather than like full page inserts, but these are just made with cardstock, and you don't even need to use fancy cardstock. You could use printer paper if you wanted to. I know when this video goes up, December is already well on its way, but you could do this for 12 days before Christmas too, and it still be very achievable. Or just take note of this as something for next year, because I think this is such a genius idea. I don't think this will be the last time I do it, because I just like the concept of actually reading a book that you want to tackle. And it might be a holiday book. Like I had some holiday books on my TBR that I considered using this for too, but ultimately went with this one. I'm gonna have a coffee now and then kind of figure out what my next plan is for the day. feels like I'm filming this at night, but I assure you, it is not even 3 p.m. I have to make a few more leather journals, so I'm gonna do some hole punching today. I'm not gonna do every step. I'm gonna try doing this on the couch to minimize the noise. I really am trying not to be making a spectacle over here. Ta-da! We got holes. I might just continue doing this. This right here is the trifold journal I had made on camera with you guys, and I can already see that the leather is starting to get some personality with marks and stuff. I love it. This one is a little bit longer. These are actually a really nice color combo together. This deep orange is also really pretty. I think I'm gonna go cream. I know that might seem safe, but there's something speaking to me about it, and maybe a green and cream for the strap on the middle. I think I'm actually gonna do 3 different charms on the top. I like to have journals in here for a few days before I gift it out, just so that the journal can really shape up. And I think these charms are so precious at the side. It is now 6 p.m. I kind of feel like crawling on the couch and just leisuring, but it's still early in the night to go do that, because I will in fact do that. I just don't want to do that 4 hours before I go to bed, you know? I've just been thinking a lot about that now that the daylight has been minimizing and the evenings just feel so long because it's dark so early. I just don't want to spend the nights I am at home in front of the TV, or at least like the whole night. I want to find a good balance. So I'm spending time at my counter, and I think I'm gonna work on Monday's newsletter, which, if you don't know, I send out a Monday morning newsletter every single Monday that is meant to be something feel good for you to open in your inbox. It's funny because I've seen more and more people start slow mail clubs where they physically send in, like through postal service, letters to people. And I've just noticed a lot of people are starting those. And I think it just speaks to this thirst that we all have for longer form content, or content that we consume a bit slowly. And I like to think that this is one of those things that, although it's not slow mail, it's not through postal service, it is, you know, still digital, it's an email, that it's something that encourages you to just stop for even a few minutes to read through and maybe walk away with something that makes you feel a little bit brighter, or something that you can take with you for the week ahead, or a thought bubble to ponder on. Now, to figure out my topics each week, I usually keep a running note so that I can kind of keep track of any things that pop up into my head, or any memories I have or moments I had that I thought were significant or that I'm thinking about, so that I have a selection of something to sort through when it comes time to picking a topic. This week, however, I have nada. So I'm gonna think through the week, look at my calendar and see, you know, what it was I was doing, and seeing if I can pull an interesting tidbit from that. So what are things I did this week? Shopped for holiday presents. I went to a wonderful dinner with Google where I got to have dinner with a ton of female creators. And so I loved being in that room. It was just so inspiring to be amongst people who do the same weird job that I do. I also made my first room spray at the One of a Kind show. I went there to preview this show. It's a show that runs till I think December 7th in Toronto. And essentially there's a ton of vendors and artisans from around Canada that come. I think there's 800 vendors, and tons of like food booths and demos and things that happen on the main stage. It's like a whole fun thing, but it's a great place to go get unique gift ideas, because there are people who do ceramics and jewelry and candles, room sprays. There was a health scare with someone I knew that was not fun. Thankfully, it seems like everything's going to be okay, but it just is another reminder of how quickly things can change. And that's why I think when we say be present, be in the moment, appreciate the things around you, I think it's so important, because things are always changing, you know, whether we want them to or not. It means that things can change for the bad. It means that things can change for the good. But even if you do nothing, you know, in your life, there are going to be little shifts around you happening that are out of your control. So that's why it's so important, or I think it's so important, to appreciate the present moment where you're at in your journey for what it is, because it's easy to think about what's not going right, take for granted what is, but like, you know, you never know how life can kind of like roll the dice on you. And I don't mean that in like always a negative way. It means it can happen in a positive direction too. But another like really important reminder to listen to your body, take care of yourself, and also appreciate the people that you have around you, and make time for them because you just never know. For my newsletter, I ended up opting for a gift guide formula based newsletter because I know so many people are holiday shopping right now and I wanted to try and simplify it for when you're trying to come up with ideas. Sometimes the newsletters lean more practical like this, and sometimes they lean a little bit more personal takeaways, but genuinely this is one of my favorite pieces of content to work on each week because I never quite know what's going to inspire me to write. Signing up is free, so if you want to join, there's a link down below. I'll see you guys next week.